I was looking for a personal trainer to help combat muscle and bone loss, which according to science probably started in my 30s and 40s. I met Mr. Glen Norman Jr., a physical fitness trainer in central Louisiana, a Louisiana Army National Guardsman, and a mixed martial arts boxer. Glen's story is a remarkable story of overcoming the odds. In preparation for this interview, I found out he wrote a book, S.W.A.G, or Stay with a Goal. The Long Walk in My Shoes, an autobiography written as a junior in college about 10 years ago. He experienced the early death of his mother and subsequently moved to live with a father who turned out to be addicted to drugs and abusive. Gang violence, homelessness, and severe depression ensued. Glen credits his survival and beating the odds to his rudimentary faith in God, fostered by his mother. Glen's coaching style reflects this philosophy. S.W.A.G, stay with a goal. Stay tuned to meet Glen Norman Jr.
Baransu Balance Podcast with Dr. Ince emphasizes the interdependence and importance of a healthy mind, body, and soul.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of Baransu Balance Podcast. Now, research has shown that heart disease, diabetes, mental health, bone health, all can be improved with resistance training. Today, I want to introduce you to Glen Norman Jr.
Hey everyone, I'm Glen Norman Jr. I am a personal trainer, a certified personal trainer and performance enhancement specialist here at Beyond Fitness at the Courtyard in Alexandria, Louisiana. I appreciate you, Ms. Christine, for having me on.
Thank you so much. So you have many titles: personal trainer, middleweight mixed martial arts boxer.
Mm-hmm.
And congratulations on your recent win.
Yes.
At the AKA Combat Alliance. That was amazing. And Glen is a motivational speaker and author of the book that we will talk about a little bit later, S.W.A.G, The Long Walk in My Shoes. He's an entrepreneur and an actor as well. So we're going to start off with some questions from our listeners. Two questions. Mm-hmm. One question is from William from Houston. He asks, Glen, how do you integrate your mixed martial arts fighting skills into your physical fitness training or that of your clients?
For me personally, I typically try to train myself to failure. Usually, because in mixed martial arts, you typically fight until you can't, can't feel yourself no more. Honestly, you like burnt out. So I usually train myself to that failure point. I'll try to push myself till I can't go no more. Okay. And it's the same concept I use with my clients too. And some days that, I'll train them to failure or I'll train them to maximal hypertrophy, whatever it is. But for the most part, I try to see how far and how long their muscles can burn out.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So I'm a medical doctor, physician. And from what I understand is that training to a certain percentage of your maximum capacity helps you in the long run.
It really does. It extends your life. It helps you live a lot longer, helps you live healthier. You'll feel better. You feel more energized. You feel like you can last a little bit longer throughout the day. You won't feel less tired. So that's the reason why I train myself to those burnout stages. So when I'm in the ring, for sure too, I don't feel as tired and as burnt out while I'm competing to win.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, we have another question from Colleen in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. And she has a gym membership that she just hasn't used, but she wants to have abs. And her question is, if I can just get rid of the fat through diet, will those abs come through without having to do hundreds of crunches?
And that's absolutely true. Dieting will allow for that fat layer, because it's subcutaneous fat that sits over that core that's underneath there. So you definitely have to do abs. I recommend doing abs as much as you can throughout the week, 3 to 5
Okay.
times a week. Doing the more often you do it, the better. You'll build up the muscle, but obviously it won't show unless you diet. So dieting right is going to help that fat kind of go away, so those abs can pop and show through. But you definitely can't. You definitely have to do abs in order for you to have that definition. But in order to really let it show, you have to make sure you eat correctly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what I have a question about when clients come to you, what are their typical goals? Is it for weightlifting? Is it for aesthetic purposes? Or...
Majority of clients always seeking weight loss. They just want to be able to lose that excess fat. They want the guidance, the structure. They want the accountability partner. And that's the main piece. Aesthetics just kind of falls right along with it because they feel like if they lose the weight, then they'll look better. I think a lot of people struggle with body dysmorphia. I know I do it too. Sometimes I look in the mirror and I'll see the old 250-pound guy that I used to be all the time. So a lot of people just come in and they want to see themselves in a better shape and feel better about the way that they look and the way that their clothes fit, stuff like that. So bulk of my clients deal with weight loss.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So do you have a, a success story you can share?
Absolutely.
One or two, well, personal success story.
Yeah, I got a personal success story for myself. For me, I remember, I was going through a divorce and I actually packed on probably about 40 pounds throughout my divorce, and I ended up being like 250 pounds. And then I turned around one day and I just said, you know what, I got to change this. And so I stuck to a plan for a year, and now I'm back down to 200 pounds even, bouncing between 190, 200 pounds. So, which I'm way better off. And a client success story, I have a client right now. Her name is Jennifer. She's been with me for 2 years. She don't even no longer need me at this point. She just loves the accountability. But she came to me. She's a lupus patient, and she struggled with that. And when she came up to me, she wasn't she wasn't in shape. She had joint issues, joint pains, because that disease causes that. And ever since she's been training with me, she lost about 20 pounds in total, and she put on about 5 to 10 pounds of muscle. But she looks super lean. She's healthier. She can bike for 30 miles because she loves to bike. Wow. She can bike for 30 miles straight as opposed to before she only could bike maybe 12 to 15 miles, or wow. And yes. And then now her doctor actually changed her plan to where she used to show up every month, and now she does every 6 months. So which is pretty cool, So it made me feel good because I had played a role in her health, and which is, that disease can truly kill you if you don't care for yourself right. So
that's a wonderful story, and the motivation that you give to your clients is a gift. Is a gift.
Thank you.
So we can have the gym membership and not necessarily just let it sit on the shelf.
Yes, absolutely. Get that gym membership. Don't feel intimidated. Get you a personal trainer if you need to. I know I have a personal trainer, and as well as being a personal trainer.
Oh, okay.
So I have someone that trains me. So I need the accountability just as much as I know my clients need me as their accountability. So
okay,
nothing wrong with that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Listen, if you have 1 hour, just 1 hour to train, and let's say, for instance, we've graduated from your class, although that would be a sad day. And you say, okay, I have an hour to hit the gym 2 times a week, preferably 3 times. Should you try to hit all the body parts, the arms, the legs, the abs, the core?
If you're looking for functional mobility, if you really don't have time during the week to work out, and all you have is 2 days to commit, and it's every other day or whatever, I would recommend doing complete full body exercises, 30 minutes, going at it, limited rest times, pushing yourself to your limits, pushing yourself to that failure point, and definitely incorporating abs and cardio at the end of it. You always want to keep your heart rate up. The main thing is hitting your target heart rate, and during your resistance training to make sure that you're getting maximal results.
Okay.
But I definitely recommend doing full body, especially if you're just looking for functional and being able to be functional throughout life.
Okay. I think I was talking about in addition to cardio.
Oh, in addition to cardio?
Just concentrating on those 2 hours on the strength building.
See, a lot of people they like variations throughout their
Mhm.
exercises, but if you're like your crunch time, and you
Mhm.
know you have limited time, you don't definitely need all these different variations of exercises to work the same muscle groups. If you can find a couple different workouts, a couple different exercises that hit a target area, or target muscle group, you can do those until failure, or do those until with maximum weight on it or something like that, and still get your cardio in at the end. But I recommend doing cardio after your workout to maximize that calorie burn.
Oh, okay. After
the workout.
Oh.
Yeah. So after your workout, if you do cardio before your workout,
Mhm.
sometimes you can tire yourself out a little bit, and you won't get that benefit from your workout. But if you wait till after your workout session is completed, then you can go ahead and get your cardio in, and that your calories are just burned exponentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good information. And before we move on to the next one, I want to ask about why is it that you normally ask your clients to rest between the reps, and how long should you rest, and why are you asking them to do that?
So rest periods vary on the type of exercise that you're doing. Typically, if you're doing just regular strength exercises, anywhere between 60 to 90 seconds of a rest is perfect enough time. If you're doing like more advanced type HIIT training, then you might want to rest 90 seconds to 3 minutes to get that. So the reason for your rest periods is so your muscles can have the chance to actually come back together. You got muscle fibers that separate as you're working out, and then they start to come back together during your rest periods. And that's so you can get the full benefit of your next set and the next exercise. You don't burn yourself out too soon. And your muscles will build lactic acid, stuff like that. So you want to give your muscles time to relax, recuperate, and then come back together and then do your next set.
Okay. So you want to rest the muscles for the 60 to 90 seconds, and that gives the fibers a chance to get themselves back together before the next workout.
That's correct. To come back together and relax, recuperate, get themselves back to normal state, and then you go ahead and push the next set.
Okay. So I wanted to read a quote that I saw that you had online. And it's a quote by Booker T. Washington. It says, "Success is not measured by the position one has reached in life, rather by the obstacles one overcomes while trying to succeed." And I read your book, S.W.A.G, S.W.A.G, and The Long Walk in My Shoes. So tell me, what is the title and what does that quote mean to you? And tell me a little bit about your journey to where you are now.
So swag it stands for stay with the goal. I came up with that when I was in college. I was actually studying for school and I was struggling. So I was like, I need something to keep me motivated. And I came across swag, the short term. I was like, I need to make this mine. So I looked up different words and different things that people were turning that abbreviation into, and I made it my own, and I called it "Stay with a Goal." And that's what my book is titled: "S.W.A.G, Stay with a Goal, the Long Walk in My Shoes." Stay with a goal,
swag. I like that.
Yeah. So stay with a goal, the long walk in my shoes. So my story is very, very, in depth. My book, I don't go into depth about a lot of things, but it pretty much tells you a story about how I overcame the struggles that I've dealt with, from losing my mom, losing my dad, moving from place to place and stuff like that, trying to figure out what to do in my life. And so
I understand that you started in South Louisiana, and that you moved on around a lot.
Yes. Yeah. Moved around a lot.
And how old were you when you lost your mother?
I was 12.
Okay. And you have how many siblings?
I have three brothers and two sisters.
Okay. And then you moved to California. That was my state.
Yeah. Oh, really? California?
Yeah.
I moved to East Oakland, California. My first drop down there, I was in East Oakland, then we moved to Fairfield and Sassoon. I visited different places in California like Vacaville, Vallejo, Sacramento, San Francisco. Los Angeles. I've been around.
So I mean, I read your book. There's a lot of trauma in your childhood, and from what I gather, not too many good memories of those days at all.
That's very true. It was definitely a uphill battle for sure.
So you were a part of a gang, a street gang. You survived a lot of physical violence. You and your sister. And what kept you going in those days? So you were still a child.
Yes, that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
I was still a child in that moment. I think the biggest thing that kept me going was my small bit of faith. I remember growing up as a kid, my mom kept us in church. We went to a Baptist church, and sometimes we went Pentecostal here and there, kind of wherever we lived. But I think that's what kept me going. I didn't really know God at the time. I didn't believe truly. I just thought that somebody had to be there in order to keep me alive. Something had to be there to help me out. So I just kind of always had that thought in the back of my mind. God is holding on to me. Something is going to change. Something's going to get better. And that's kind of what I kept in my mind the whole time while I was going through what I was doing.
Right. So I would, recommend that you go online, Amazon, and pick up this book. It's very inspiring. S.W.A.G, S-W-A.G, The Long Walk in My Shoes. And so you got back to Louisiana, and you thought you had made it back home. But there were some more obstacles in the way.
Yes. It was a lot of obstacles. It was a lot more than I put out in my book, but for sure, it was a lot. It was definitely when I got back home, my brother actually had a physical altercation with my dad, and forced him to leave our life so that we can continue moving forward with them. Because we told him all the bad things. We tried to keep him updated as best we could while we was out there in California, but we was limited on that for sure. But after that situation,
I read where you and your sister actually got out of a moving car to get out of that situation.
Oh yeah, she almost got caught in the seatbelt in that moment. She jumped out and she almost got her arm caught in the seatbelt as he was driving off. And but she had just slipped out. I mean, within seconds before he actually hit the gas, and it helped her. She probably would have not been here if it wasn't for that. But she actually struggled her way out of it, and then we made a way out of it, and then he took off, and that was the last I seen him. And then I didn't hear about him until he died when I was 19. I got a call from my brother in California, and he asked me, what should we do with his body? And I was just mind blown. I was like, that I don't really know. And at the time I was 19, and I was like, I don't really want to do anything with his body. Just do whatever you feel like is necessary. Because I didn't want anything to do with him. But now I look at it a little bit different. I believe everybody deserves some forgiveness. And my dad wasn't perfect, but he deserves forgiveness. He's still loved by God just like I am. So his imperfections doesn't really pertain to my judgment. I can't judge him on that.
When I first met you, you pointed out the fact that you got some of your father's muscles.
Yeah.
I know you guys can't see him, but he says he doesn't even work hard. In fact, he works to decrease his muscle so he can make the weight requirement for the middleweight boxing fights. But so that was one positive thing.
Yeah, that's for sure. My dad was just naturally built. He just looked like he lived in the gym, but he did. He just had muscle. His biceps had biceps. He just looked good.
And he never worked out.
Never, not to my knowing. I didn't see it. If he did work out, it was before and after we went to sleep. Yeah, so it was just kind of like I was like, wow, how did he get this way?
So this is drifting off the subject, but my mother lived to 99.
Wow.
I'm also an orphan. I know we're a few years apart.
Wow.
But she died about 6 months ago. I do not recall her ever working out in a gym.
And she lived to 99.
99.
Wow. That's crazy.
But she really was careful with her diet.
Yeah.
And she was careful with her diet. Yeah.
That's amazing. 99.
Yeah. So, so God brought you through, and you said that. I mean, at one point you were homeless, and now you know, college degree, author, and well respected in the community.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Motivational speaker.
A lot of people look at me and be like, man, how you do so much? You know, because I got 3 kids, and as a single father, it's like, oh my God, how you balance everything? It's just, I just believe that if you love something and you have a passion for it, you're just gonna do it. It's nothing that's can really stop you.
So that's the title of this podcast, Balance.
Balance.
Brought on to
Yeah.
Balance podcast.
And I didn't mention anything about the quote, but I do say, you know, success is not measured by the position that you reach, but rather by the obstacles. The reason why I like that quote so much is because it's like, no matter what level you reach in life, you're always going to be defined by what you overcame. You can't really judge a man whenever he's in a calm state of mind. You can judge him by how he responds whenever he's under stress. And I feel like as a person, if you overcome something and you grow from it, which you're supposed to, that you become a better person overall. So the title will never define you as a person, who you are. It's always the obstacles that will define you, who you truly are.
Wow. I there's probably very few exceptions to that statement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sure there's many that I haven't acknowledged. But yeah. For
sure. Yeah. I used to hate that pop song that says whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Oh yeah.
I hated that song, but there's some truth in it.
It is. It is.
Oh, okay. So I want to end with what are the things that you see, the common errors that you see in the gym? Well, we're going to end with another quote.
Okay.
Another Norman quote this time.
No. Oh man, no.
Okay, so what are some common errors that you see in the gym? And did you want to demonstrate them?
Yeah, I can demonstrate.
Okay. Right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So a lot of the errors that I see general across the board is people come in and not really know how to work the muscle groups, doing things with the proper form, proper technique, making sure they're fully extending through the reps or doing it in the right tempo. One of the exercises I can show you guys, and it's a very basic, straightforward exercise, there's no weights involved, is squats. Many people mess up on squats and they don't understand how to properly do it. So one of the things that I noticed is, first and foremost, from a front point of view, you want to make sure that your feet are pointed, you know, or straddle stance or in shoulder width apart. Then you want to make sure that your toes are slightly pointed outward, and the reason for that is because you want to make sure that your knees don't buckle in. A lot of people have tendency to have their knees kind of buckle in, kind of like that, and you don't want that. So I try to tell my clients to point their toes out a little bit. And when you squat, you want to make sure that you keep your knees behind your toes or in line with your toes. This is not a killer or anything. It's not going to hurt you if your knees go above your toes, but it does make the workout, allow for you to target the right muscle groups a little bit better. So what I do is typically now from a side standpoint, I'll make sure that I'm going down into my heels when I squat down. I don't want to squat forward. I want to squat down. And a way to check this is when you go down into the squat, if you can still pick up your toes, then you know that you're at least squatting through your heels and you're squatting and targeting the right muscle groups, right? But if you can't move your toes, then you know at that point you're leaning way too far forward, and that you're putting a little bit too much pressure on that front part of your knee, and you're not putting the pressure on the target areas wherever you're trying to target. Okay. Another thing about the squat that I see is that people back usually drop down. So when they squat down, they usually go like this to compensate for the lack of strength in their core or maybe their lower back. So you want to make sure you keep your chest up. I like to point my eyes up to the sky. I always say that I'm looking to God to help me get through this workout. So I'll kind of look up. That'll help me keep my back straight. So as I go through it, boom, 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 boom. Okay. And you're reaching to go at least to 90 right here. Or if you can break 90 if you can, but don't push yourself to a point to where you can't do something. Work your way to it. Don't be intimidated by everybody else in the gym. Everybody's at different levels. You got to work with yourself. Do what you can and stick to it. And I think you'll be all right.
All right. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So, okay. All right. So thank you so much. And
You're welcome.
so we're going to end with some Norman quotes. And one says, hatred hates happiness.
Ooh, I forgot about that quote.
H,
Wow.
H, H.
Wow.
And you have to be able to pronounce your H's for this one. Hatred hates happiness. I think that's a good statement.
It is.
Yeah.
It does. Hatred does hate happiness, because hatred will look for every reason not to like what you got going on. People who hate you, people who not even hate you specifically, they have something within themselves that they hate, and they're looking for the resolvement, but they can't find it through you. So they look at you like you're doing something wrong when you're really just trying to produce joy and happiness to other people. So they'll typically like, I don't like what you got going on, or they're trying to look for they're always criticizing what you got going on. And that's usually a telltale sign that they have something inside of them that they haven't dealt with yet. So a lot of people, so don't let that be a botheration to you. Don't let other people drag you down, kind of thing. Don't let them tell you that you can't do something, because you really can. They just choosing not to do it, and they're looking to hate you because you're actually doing it.
Okay. All right. And the next one is stop worrying about things you have no control over.
Man. Oh, wow.
Right? I think that's in psychology, and I think you said something that you might be interested in doing that at some point.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's what you call cognitive behavior therapy, that has to do with the 12-step program, that has to do with what's in the Bible.
Yes.
Stop worrying about things you have no control over.
Anxiety. This is where my anxiety came into play, and a lot of people can probably attest to this. Is saying, this is where anxiety builds up. When we feel like we lack control over something, we start to have anxiety over it, because we want to control the outcome. And if we can't control the outcome of something, we typically get stressed, or we feel bogged down. We feel like we're depressed now. And really and truly, you can't control if you can't control the outcome, there's no need to worry about it. Let God handle that situation.
Amen.
And if God handles it, it's going to be handled the right way. So there's no need to stress or have anxiety over something you can't control. Just let it be what it is.
I'll have to remember that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Glen Norman, for that.
Yes, ma'am.
And so last quote, this is actually a quote from your mother, your dear departed mother. She said, quote, "Let God handle the dirt," end quote. Any last words for our listeners?
Oh man, my mom was awesome, man. My mom was awesome. I wasn't the perfect child, but she always meant business. And honestly, the way that my mom always handled me, she always led with God. I didn't really know, like I said, as a kid, I didn't understand God. I didn't know him. I just knew what my mom would tell me. And anytime I felt any type of way, or anytime I felt like I wasn't succeeding or doing something right, or I was behind the curve a little bit, or something didn't make me something didn't sit well with me, my mom always say, "Let God handle the dirt."
Wow.
And she's amazing, man. Her favorite word was danger. She loved that word.
Oh, danger. Really?
Her favorite word was danger. She got that from a rapper named Mystical. His song was "Danger, watch your back, danger." And she loved that. So she stuck with that word. She was awesome.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. Until we meet again.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
God willing. All right.
S.W.A.G. Stay with a goal. Inspirational. After 6 weeks of training, I feel stronger and have longer endurance and less back fatigue. Remember, this program is for educational purposes only and does not substitute for advice from your personal health care provider. It is important to consult your medical health provider before embarking on a new physical fitness program, such as weightlifting, especially if you have a chronic illness. See attached references for additional benefits and precautions with weightlifting. This is Dr. Dr. Christine Ince, wishing you a balanced mind, body, and soul. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.